Hello everybody, welcome to another alternative sports show. I'm Matthew Connor, joined with Andre Dixon as ever. And we're back again with Brad Binder from MotoGP, Red Bull KTM. Good sir, it's good to see you again.
Good to be back on the show.
It's been busy, we're going to cut straight to it. And dude, as a 25-year-old, having a documentary is a good sign that life isn't too bad so far. Like it's quite an impressive feat. Red Bull TV has launched Brad Binder becoming 33. Or what I finally clocked from watching this, that the 33, I can't believe I missed this, represented the initials, which is a complete, I couldn't believe it. Literally, it was like everything just got unraveled for me. But I got to ask you, it's been an incredible process, incredible journey for you so far this season. Plenty of things have been learned, a lot of highs, a lot of lows. How was this process, making this documentary about yourself? Must have felt pretty surreal that you're in your first rookie year, MotoGP, doing this properly. And then look, season isn't even completed. You got a pretty banging documentary made about yourself.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't even know where to start, but yeah, I mean, you know, we've been doing some filming from, must have been since 2010, more or less, when I was in Rookies Cup. So it's been a long time with a lot of like funny footage. Actually, I just got the chance to watch it for the first time, and it reminded me of a few days that I probably would have liked to forget about. But it's cool. You know, I feel like my career is only just starting, to be honest, and it's amazing to have a documentary just keeping everything up to date to where we're at the moment. And I hope there's still a long story to go from here on out.
Absolutely. I mean, if this is the only one about yourself, mate, then we got some serious questions to be asked. But it's incredible because it's something that I do outside of talk. You know, me having to talk to people like in this scenario. I would make documentaries of athletes, and I've done stuff with Red Bull, with soccer, football talent, and so I understand that. You know, Red Bull, they're not messing around when they want to do a chronicle about someone's point, life, career, whatever. It's a pretty big deal, but something that was really cool to see. Big up Trevor and Sharon. Basically, you know, don't want to put yourself down, but we're basically stars of the show. They really sold the emotion, and your brother Darren as well. It was what was that like, having your family so heavily involved in that journey?
It's been cool. I think without my family, obviously none of this would ever have been possible. For me, I was just a kid wanting to go race, and they had to make all the sacrifices and, you know, make everything happen. Where for me, it was just I had a dream, and fortunately for me, they managed to get it all, to make it all happen. Whereas, you know, I just tagged along for the ride, and it's crazy because when I look back at it now, I've always known what a massive sacrifice it is, but there's so many times in my career that they've made, they've done things that my parents have always just gone that extra mile for me and done whatever it took. So I'm forever grateful to them for sure.
And it's one of those interesting things when it comes to content. From even my own experiences, it's like you when you're around elite athletes and talent, there's always a lot of stuff that gets filmed, whether it's by like your own personal team, from Red Bull KTM, from the broadcasters. So how much of it, because of course there's cameras everywhere, and whether you're in a paddock, in a garage, post-race, pre-race, were you, I guess, part one is, were you aware that a documentary was in the works, or was it kind of like a thing they said, well, we've got all this amazing content and this amazing journey, but two, I mean, apart from obviously the things you did film, you know, at home and whatnot, how aware were you what was going on across this whole process?
Well, I mean, it's weird because actually, when we did a lot of the filming back in the Rookies Cup days, it was for a documentary called Young Guns Rising or something, I believe it was called, where there were a few kids from Rookies Cup, and they came to our houses and checked everything out, saw where we live, and, you know, just pretty much got a bit of a base to the story from there. But then all of a sudden, you know, I had this long journey with the Red Bull KTM, and yeah, I mean, originally, I mean, I'm sure none of us had any idea that it was going to turn into a documentary, but I think when it did, we had so much cool content that it made things a little bit easier for sure. But I mean, at the same time, it's a bit weird having some cameras following you around and stuff. That's for sure.
Well, it captures such special moments, man. And I think one of the things that I really love, like I'm close to my brother. He works with me with a lot of my stuff, and to see you and your bro, like I think that's the thing of anyone that's had like a successful profession. It's like the backbone of family is such a motivation. And I love the scene where you and your bro were back home riding. I was thinking, dude, I got to get out of living in London because the scenery was unreal. You got all kinds of nature all around you. I was thinking, dude, this is the life. And just, I mean, a little bit about that. How was that doing? How was it doing that? How kind of surreal was it doing really normal things and being followed around by a camera team and capturing the story, which has been so awesome to see.
No, it was cool. It was definitely cool. I always miss home a lot because I feel like there's nowhere else you can do those things like
Absolutely.
we saw a little bit here. But at the same time, it's so cool to just be able to, well, not just pretty much to have my brother's like my partner in crime almost. He's, we go training together, we do everything together. So it makes life a whole lot more easy when you, especially for us, like when you spend a long time away from home. And there's nowhere in Europe or anywhere around the world that it can compare to home for me. So
Absolutely.
it's difficult to really, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I always look forward to going back. And when the guys were there filming, it was awesome because it was so cool to actually, a lot of people always speak about how proud I am of South Africa and where I live, and you can't explain it. And now after the documentary, maybe it fills in why I love going home so much.
Well, yeah. Speaking of family, obviously, we've said off camera that we consider you part of ours now. The second interview with us, and we're really grateful to be able to get to speak to you again because we're big fans. But something we didn't mention the last time, which you actually do cover in the documentary, is your physical training. So last time we spoke, you mentioned about that you have lots of hobbies. You put all my hobbies to shame with your extreme biking and everything else that you do is like extreme popcorn eating, whatever it is. But do you have the, obviously you have a lot of hobbies, but do you have time to be able to change up your routine a lot to keep you motivated?
It's actually one thing that I've never enjoyed is trying to stick to a program. Of course, I always have that base program where I know what I need to get done for the week, but at the same time, I find that if I do the same thing too many times, it just becomes it becomes boring pretty much. I find it's so important to really just change things up every now and then, go new places, ride at different tracks, go ride mountain bikes instead of riding roads some days, and just I've always been a big fan of taking what works for me and just trying to chuck it all in. And at the end of the day, I'm not someone that needs someone there to tell me, hey, you need to go train, you need to go do this, you need to do that. I know exactly what I have to do, and there's no one that's harder on myself than I am. So I always get the work done, and I always like to train, whether it be at 5 o'clock in the morning or at sometimes 10 o'clock at night. I'd like to do everything. I really like to try and max out my days, to be honest. I try to get up super early, or some nights go to sleep super late, but just, try and have a normal life at the same time and put my training as the most important part of my day, but try and get it done. So the rest of my day is pretty much just up to me what I want to do.
So for us and the rest of your fans, like, what would you say? Now, I want you to give us, because obviously, especially in the UK and a lot of the European countries, we're all in lockdown. So we're looking forward to next year. We can't wait to get rid of this year. Obviously you've had a smashing year, so you must want it to continue. But what I wanted to ask you is give me a hobby or something that maybe everyone could try at home if they want to kind of step into your shoes. Like, what type of hobby would you suggest for us to try out next year? I won't be racing against you on the track just yet. We've got to get our biking license first of all, but after that.
I mean, it's actually really difficult to find anything that's quite similar to racing a bike or riding a bike. That's why for us the best thing is always to actually ride for training, because there's nothing else that actually trains the same muscle groups, and it's just way more fun as well. So, but I mean, it's tough to say, but yeah, I mean, one thing that jumps to mind is if you want to try something out, there's places that have karting everywhere. And, the idea behind it is the same. You've got to get around the track as fast as possible. It's on four wheels, not two, but the base is the same. So if you're keen on giving that a bash, I reckon it would be a good place to start.
Yeah, we're going to try that, definitely. So we're going to plan a championship. So when everything's gone back to semi-normal, then that might be something that we can beat you on. Maybe.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
it, but I'm looking forward to it for sure.
We'll have to film it, Dre, because this is just comedy that could be in front of our eyes. So we've got to capture this content. But
Yeah,
this is one
I
thing.
want to see it.
This is the one thing, like watching a documentary, that kind of struck me. Not only from the trailer, but in the main thing was like older footage, like you growing up. And there's one thing that stuck out to me just from watching the trailer, where it was like, I guess it was like you at home in your backyard, like on a motocross bike or something. Now, because obviously your family and parents were so engaged with the race world as it was, I also feel like the reason my parents didn't film me doing anything is because they just realized I had zero talent. So they put the video cameras away. But for yourself, like, it was so cool to see like old school clips. And was it just something your family would have just done? You would just like capture memories, or was it kind of they had this feeling like, okay, our son's a bit of a gangster here?
No, actually, like my parents really, they took a few photos here and there, but they definitely never recorded anything. So all of that's like that footage all came from when I was in Rookies Cup, and the guys came and did a home visit, or whatever you wanted to call it, So that's actually where all that footage came from. But yeah, I mean, if my parents aren't much for going and filming much, or yeah, I've seen my like photo album from when I was a kid, and I think when I turned 2 that stopped. So yeah, that's about it. That's as far as that all went.
Just being, from South Africa, and being an outsider typically to European culture, when you're making your way through the MotoGP ranks, is there anything that stood out to you? Like, whoa, these people are completely different to what I'm used to.
Not really. The main thing that I've always struggled with, to be honest, is I'm so used to having like open spaces, and places aren't so busy. Then you go to a place like Italy, and the street is, you can barely drive a car down them, and everyone lives on top of each other, all in the city and all of that stuff. And that's one thing that I've always found difficult to understand, because it's something I feel I could never do. I need to be out in the middle of nowhere, which would be fantastic. But yeah, yeah, I like to be literally. I think I could be happy on the top of a mountain somewhere, and it takes an hour to get anywhere, no problem.
That's the beauty of with MotoGP and getting to travel the world and beyond. And you get to see a lot of different places, of course, different circuits that have different personalities. Now, of course, this weekend, as we come to an end, European Grand Prix, we're up in Valencia. I like to call it Valencia 1.
Yeah.
A lot going on in the build-up, a lot of crazy stuff going in and around the paddock, of course, yourself as well. How's the preparations, and how's the outlook going into that?
So far, so good. It's been a good first day here in Valencia. The weather's definitely a little bit sketchy. It's been raining so bad today and the whole of last night too. It looks like we're going to be having a bit of a wet weekend. But yeah, it should be dry on Sunday apparently. So I really hope we get a couple dry sessions before then, because to go straight into the race first time around here in the dry would be a bit difficult. But I'm up for the challenge, and I'm looking forward to getting this weekend started. I'm sure I can do a good job here.
Well, that's the beauty of MotoGP. It brings twists and turns, even dry or wet, and also makes me a little bit happy inside, because knowing that here in London, the weather's holding up pretty good. So normally when Spain's got it on the other end, I'm pretty happy. But Brad, I really appreciate you chatting to myself and Dre once again on Alternative Sport. Everyone, make sure, as we in the UK go into go into lockdown number 2. So this is it. It's a perfect time to get watching this. Brad Binder, Becoming 33, bracket, it's BB, mind blower for me. For more, check out redbull.com/Becoming 33. I'm Matthew Connell, that's Andre Dixon, and Brad, thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you, bud. Thanks for having me on the show.